Hey, what is up guys, Orange here. After for so long, I'm finally uploading again. I know that a lot of you are either anxious or about the chapter to my fanfic or waiting for another video. I apologize again for such a delay, especially since I have a lot of things to do during the summer. It's just that I've been working on school related stuff since I managed to transfer to my dream college. All summer long, I've patiently waiting for my university to reply back to me and get some of my documents in here and there or so, making sure that I have all the necessities I need before like going and renting a room and other stuff, so forth. It's been a long process, but it's almost finally all done now. I just need to wait for some other minor stuff, but everything's okay. I got myself a single bedroom for rent near my school, so starting tomorrow, my first semester starts, but luckily I only have classes Monday through Wednesday, so that means Thursday to Sunday, I should have time to work on my fanfiction and other characters' sprite designs. Of course, gaming too, and actually I have another video ready for you guys of me playing Crash Bandicoot Warp Remastered. Yeah, it's not like a walkthrough, it's more like a casual gameplay, so yeah, you could expect more gameplays in the future. It's going to be a lot more quiet though, because of the current house rules I have. So there may or may not be any commentary in not the next video, but the following video or so. Fanfiction wise, I'm about 1/3 finished with the chapter. It's a huge chapter, unlike the previous chapters or so. It's more detailed on what happens in days instead. Not like everything is shortened out within like battles or whatever. It's just within days. So we're talking about 3 days, so I'm almost pretty much done with day 1 of the first chapter, and it looks like it's guaranteed that day 3 is going to be the longest out of the other 2 days. Yeah, again, I apologize for the wait, and I hope that by being here isolated from my family or so, I'll be more productive in both my fanfiction and my YouTube channel maybe. So I have just about 4 questions this time. One's officially granted, in which I asked for permission for the person. Another is within the comments, old comments of within like the other videos or so, and then 2 private messages that I found. They're not exactly official, but they're more like general questions that I just looked into or so. For those 2 messages, I won't say who they are, but yeah. So let's get started. So First question. Will Cyrus fight his father? Uh, Answering this simply, the answer is no. Not in this arc or story. Mainly because, well, this is not a really suited place for the two to fight. But there shouldn't exactly be a reason for them to fight exactly because, I tell you guys this. The event of Cyrus and Godzilla fighting, that already happened in the past, so prequels needed to explain more on that. Yeah. Next question. Will he ever go to the Sengoku Kohime world in the future? Unfortunately, I can't do that. I like to, but I can't because I don't have enough information about every single character within that respective world. With the Kohime, I know most of the characters and what they're like. The new characters of Eiyutan, maybe I could put some work into like researching a little bit on like translating and stuff like that. But not much or so, because as you see, like for like Taishiji and Sojin, the other characters that I already added, I winged those. I winged like their personalities and stuff like that. But I got some info at least on them. It's not like I'm going in totally blind and knowing nothing about them. I just based it off on what information I got. So that's how I got those. But for the Sengoku Kohime series, I don't exactly have the time to figure out each and every character and what's the storyline of it and all that. Okay, so what do you think of the new versions of Godzilla, the one of 2014 and 2016? Okay, so this one is going to be a long one. And okay, so before I start, let me just clarify the terms I've been using, because I know a lot of people call them differently, but so the two we're talking about here, I'm just going to refer as Legendary and Shin Godzilla, just for short or so. I'm not going to call it Hollywood Godzilla or anything or any other names or so. But yeah, so if any of you haven't seen these two like amazing movies yet, well, pause this video, go and Google and watch the two videos now. Okay, you've been warned now. Spoiler alert, just in case, if any of you guys haven't seen it. Legendary is pretty much a god from like how they depict him. Not like literal naming of God incarnate, but literally as like a being you could like worship. Legendary Pictures did like an amazing job in making his debut. I know a lot of people say that there's too much human interaction and everything, and Godzilla was barely the main focus, blah blah blah, and it was like a bad film to make for Godzilla. Ooh. Well, to you haters of the film, it's my opinion, but I think you guys are just wrong. Okay? His debut was amazing. In like my perspective, the film was pretty much a setup for the upcoming films of Godzilla 2, King of the Monsters, and Godzilla vs. Kong, and other films to be announced within the Monsterverse, which I hope there's going to be a lot more. There's a lot of human things going on more than Godzilla, like always. There's always that case in like all the other Godzilla franchise. Go back and watch the films. Like, it's mostly just human interactions anyways. It's not much on Godzilla. I mean, yeah, Godzilla is like a focus, but then still he's not like the main guy to show up for like every problem or so. Like in just this case or so with the film is different from the other films because they actually dig deeper into like the human's perspective on things, especially the military. combating like the Mutos. Yeah, I mean, usually we see like what the Japanese Godzilla franchise or so. We see like the military just get involved just to, as defense against Godzilla or whatever, or all the other monsters, but we don't exactly see much of like the military perspective on how they handle the situation or so. Excluding, I think, Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, where we actually see like some military guys or whatever or so. I think that's it. Because like like the physical like soldiers or whatever, so you don't exactly see like them being the main character and how we get to see much, because most of those guys, they just die like instantly from Godzilla or something. So yeah, this is pretty much a good perspective of like how does the military like see everything on the battlefield or whatever. And yeah, so we get to see like the US military handling like the threats of the kaijus and how much they fail because they're so powerless. It demonstrates the difference between powers between the kaijus and the US military. And this is the US military, so you have to admit that the US military has like probably the most advanced and most powerful like weapons like in the world or so. Most powerful like military when it comes to like warfare and all that. And they didn't do jack shit against the Mutos, which are just supposed to be parasites of kaijus or whatever. So in a way, like it exactly portrays what Serizawa says about the arrogance of man, thinking that nature is in their control and not the other way around. That's exactly it. It demonstrates that no matter what, like how powerful the military is, no matter which army it is or so, there's no way like the human faction can actually handle any of the kaijus that's gonna come up. Now, add Godzilla into the equation. The power to restore balance. Where the military fails, Godzilla succeeds. He kills both Mutos, and yet a lot about him is still shrouded in mystery. And that's the point of this movie here. Like it's more like a teaser for the whole MonsterVerse or so, the first step. So like he throughout the film he demonstrates strength, endurance, and power. But then he still gives the vibe of there's still more of him he has yet to show to all of us. And that's what I really like about the film, is that it doesn't exactly demonstrate like Godzilla's full potential. He's like still like that third party in this case, coming in to like intervene to save humanity and kill the Mutos. So like by the end of the film or so, you should like I got the vibe of like if I was like those people within like the stadium watching as Godzilla leaves or so, or even maybe as like the audience or so, you get the vibe of like I want to know more about this Godzilla or so. Like if no one has ever watched Godzilla before and watched this, they'll say like Godzilla's like amazing character, but there's so much like more I don't know about him. And this is pretty much what this film does, is pretty much makes you want to more from the MonsterVerse. So then you get more in the following films. You expect more from the following films. But this pretty much is a lead up or so. That's what this that's what the film to me is like. So that's why you haters who said it was a bad film, Godzilla didn't get enough screen time or so, you're wrong. Okay, look back on the other films. Besides, ones like Final Wars or whatever, he has plenty of screen time. And even when he has a plenty of screen time, like Final Wars, you guys, some people still hates on that. But people has opinions, but so respect each other's opinion. But yeah, I think you guys are wrong, and you guys don't know what you're talking about. But that's my opinion. So when looking through the film and everything, well, he's amazing. Legendary to me is probably like the most physically most powerful incarnation of any of the Godzillas, with Final Wars Godzilla coming in second or so. Like, I can only imagine how powerful he really is, considering he definitely did not show like his full strength like within the respective film. His design fits him well. Everything about him screams divine and powerful. I can go on and on and on, but that will be too long of a video. So now we get to Shin Godzilla. Holy crap, that's terrifying. I love it. I love the whole terrifying look and everything. That's how Godzilla should be portrayed since the beginning. I don't know how many of you like feel the same way as me, but when like during your childhood when you first watched the 1954 film or so, yeah, about that, I was actually really scared to watch it ever since I first watched it or so. I don't know, it's because it's maybe black and white or so, but like I just remember that I rather watch every other. This is all in VHS, so I had like a 5 film pack or so. I had Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. The Thing or Godzilla vs. Mothra, Godzilla's Revenge, Terra Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, which it was, Invasion of the Astro Monsters, or yeah, I think that's what it's called. Anyways, those 5 films. I watched all the other 4 except the King of the Monsters because I was so scared of just watching it when I was a kid. And yeah, Shin Godzilla was pretty much like that, except it was not much scared, but pretty much when I watched it, my mouth was on the floor when he appears. Like every time. Like it's on the floor. Like gigantic, horrifying, and he's definitely something that crawled out of hell or so. If like the 1954 Godzilla barely survived the Oxygen Destroyer and waited like 60 years to recover under the assumption that the 1954 Godzilla didn't have a regenerative property, and then he also took that time to also grow extremely large, his final form is exactly what I imagined or so. Like all torn up and still like in the midst of recovering or so, yada yada, blah blah blah. Like it really screwed him up, like really bad. That's how I imagine. Like if Shin Godzilla actually tied into the first film or so. Overall, the film and the design definitely brings back the horror like the first 1954 Godzilla. Japan pretty much nailed that film or so. Like I know that like Japan was inspired because of Legendary Pictures, but when they made their film, they definitely did not want like the Legendary Godzilla to get outclassed. Like no, what's the word? They definitely don't want to like ruin their culture or so. Like the standards were really high. Like pressure was onto them, and pretty much they nailed it. Definitely the ultraviolet atomic beam. That's why I call it, because from if you know like the color, the what do you call that? I don't know that scale or so. and that scale as well. But like, you know, you have the infrared, then you have visible light, and then you have ultraviolet. Yeah, that's what came up in my head when I saw the violet atomic beam or so. Yeah, so definitely the most powerful among like the rest of the Godzilla incarnations. Like, no doubt about it. Even against probably like Spyro, like the finishing breath or the Spyro breath, probably that one comes close. But this one takes the cake. He's definitely a god incarnate. Um, I would say more like a devil. Instead, a devil's incarnate or so, or maybe an evil god, maybe. But yeah, definitely lives up to that. The line in the trailer for the 2014 Legendary Godzilla or so, you know, the line of "Now I've become death, the destroyer of worlds." That line fits with this Godzilla best. Shin Godzilla definitely nailed like that whole phrase right there. So, I see these two Godzillas as their respective gods of their own domains, complete opposite of each other, of course. One is like order, one is chaos. To me, Legendary Godzilla is like a naturally born primordial god or so. He lives in ancient times. He's gods before the gods or so. While Shin Godzilla, he sort of like he became a god. He was like something simple, something insignificant, but then because of the accidents of the nuclear waste and stuff like that, he actually ascended to godhood. So you have a really old god, a primordial god, and then a freshly new evil god or so. Pretty much, Shin Godzilla is pretty much, to me, is the god that will end humanity. Just in my opinion, that's what it is. Okay. Okay. And yeah, for that question or so, let's see. I believe by the name of Ben. Ben asked the question, and just to let you guys know, my name is also Ben. Okay. So in any case, question from Lincoln Time. How can destroying Cyrus's power help in any way to support that dream? Okay, so I already personally answered this to Lincoln in a PM, but for this video, I'm going to make this simple and clear as possible. I do my best, okay? So, Cyrus believes in trust, love, and friendship. And that, yeah, he believes in those three things can save the realm, just like Ruby. With or without him, history is going to steer its course to the future Cyrus knows herself, or the future that we all know. With the current knowledge he has, he believes that that's all he needs. He's not his father, who believes in brute force and power to change things. He's a believer of, you know, the phrase of the mind will vanquish the sword, and the phrase of knowledge is power. So those things more correlates with Cyrus. If it's just sheer force and power, that's his father, Godzilla, the Final Wars version. Putting that aside, like, yeah, he doesn't believe that superpowers are necessary to make the minor changes in history he believes in. And to make this clear, he only crippled his power. He didn't lose his powers. He only crippled it. Okay, so he's just put limits on himself, but like not like a full limit onto him. Like, if he were to abuse his powers to get what he wants or so, He believes that the other characters or so, all his friends, would come to depend on his power. And additionally, by using his powers and changing like things around, he may actually change it too much and then change the course of history to the point where he doesn't even know where it's heading. So that's somewhat of his fear of drifting away from the original history. He's trying to steer it more closer to the original history, but a different ending instead. So with his powers though, that all may actually change depending on how much he uses powers to change things around. Yeah, so he's not exactly powerless, so don't worry about that. He's only temporarily limiting himself, believing that this will get him off the leash with Soso, because Soso is currently has a leash over him, sort of speaking. She doesn't want to let him go. Pretty much a demonstration of trust between the two, so that in the future they'll still be on good friendly terms, even if they become enemies. And we all know that Cyrus is most likely going to become enemies with Soso, but at the very least, they'll still be good friends still. That's what he wants. So, by nerfing himself, he could keep a good relationship he has with Soso and prevent others from relying on him too much, and easily keep himself from altering history too much. Otherwise, he doesn't know where is it going. Oh, and of course, he's a kaiju, and he's also a part of the Gojimura, which is Godzilla's family, so he has a regenerative property. So, I'll leave it at that. You guys can figure out what that means. And that's pretty much it. Well, that's it for the video. It's kind of long because of the rambling about Legendary Godzilla's debut and stuff like that. But yeah, the next video should be coming up really soon, so I should have that done really soon. One last thing before I let you guys off, it's about the PMs and the reviews of the stories. Yeah. Please don't request things anymore. I know there's one guy who asked me to do something, and I agreed, because I thought I could do it, but then I stopped for a while after for some time. So if you're that guy watching this video here, and you know who I'm talking about, and you know who you are, and you know what I'm talking about, to that person, I'm sorry I couldn't keep my obligations to that, but I have things to do, and it didn't work out, so I'm sorry I couldn't help you much with your story and stuff like that. Okay, and then additionally, I advise people, please everyone, look at my profile page on fanfiction.net. If you intend to make any attempt of any request, we can talk about it, but still there's no guarantee of me working on it when I'm working on this story here. So don't bother. Either you don't bother or bother me about it, or just you can have a request, but I could reply whether it may come up in the future or not, but probably not. But don't make any requests. Pretty much is what I'm trying to get at. I'm already having I can't even go back to my old stories that I wrote in the past or whatever. And also, no more challenges. Period. No more for the love of Godzilla, okay? No more challenges. No more story challenges. I don't have the time to make any of those requests, like what I previously said. And some of those requests I just don't know. So please look at my profile page if match any of my categories or so, because otherwise I can't do it. Okay? So that's it. Okay, so that's that. So yeah, and this is pretty much the end of the video. So Like the video if you like this informative and update video that I just gave you all. Comment about questions and other stuff below. I'm more likely to read them more than the PMs now. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe for more content and other updates. Yeah, and I hope you all have a good day. Yeah, so now, if you guys excuse me, I got that chapter to write up. See y'all later. Orange out.